Hello, and welcome to the training on how to use the School Board Tracker. The School Board Tracker is a tool that will allow you to keep track of your school board sentiments and help you to determine where their sentiments lie in terms of votes and where you should prioritize your time with school board members and how they might be influenced to give you a favorable vote. I think this is a great tool to help you to influence your decisions in terms of how you're approaching school board members and the things they care about. So the first thing that I have to say before we get into anything is to never type information into a blue cell. So a cell like this, if you see, contains a formula. You never want to touch that formula. Or a cell like this, which is blue again, never want to touch that formula. You can touch white cells and you can always touch gray cells. However, that being said, there are a few different ways to use the school board tracker. And what I would suggest is to not really enter information into the actual school board dashboard, school board tracker dashboard, which this page is, but rather to enter information into the individual board members' sheets. So if you click on any of these school board tabs, for example, let's click on number 1, it'll take you to the page for that actual school board member. So let's name this school board member, and let's say this is the school board member's name. And so you see that there's a lot of information that you can enter here. You can enter general information about the school board member, who their influences are, or what influences them, the date, the meeting number, the questions to prepare for the meeting, and also any notes that you have after or before the meeting, and then a likelihood prediction. And in this, you see there's a drop-down menu, and there's a scale, everything from very likely to very unlikely. And so let's say that we have a meeting with Popeye, and the first meeting is somewhat unlikely, and that's meeting number 1. If we click here to return to the dashboard, you'll see that there's information entered. And so somewhat likely, and it has a likelihood percentage of 25%, and our overall outcome for a school board vote, a favorable school board vote, is very unlikely. Let's make 5 school board members, just for this example. Let's say the second school board member is mystical, and let's say that you have a good danger policy, and so there's not going to be danger in school, and so it's somewhat likely you walk out feeling that mystical is going to vote for your school. And let's go to our third school board member, who is Laura Croft, and she is neutral, undecided, and you see that that's 50%. And then let's go to another school board member, and that ended up being Johnny Bravo, and it's very likely that he's going to vote for your school because he likes you. And then number 5 is Goku, and it's very unlikely that Goku is going to vote for your school. And so you see that you have overall between these 5 school board members, you have a 50% average of actually yielding a favorable school result. So what that means is that you probably need to prioritize time with a few people. Particularly Popeye might be able to be persuaded, and Laura Croft might be able to be persuaded. Let's say you spend more time and you have another meeting with Laura Croft. The beautiful thing about entering the information in this way is maybe in your second meeting with Laura Croft, in your second meeting with Laura Croft, you have another conversation and you determine that she has some other influencers, and you walk out of that meeting and she says, hey, this is something that I support, so on and so forth, and so it's somewhat likely she's going to support your school. Now you see that your chances have increased. And let's say you spend some time with Popeye, and Popeye now becomes somewhat likely as well, or he becomes neutral, and he says, hey, you know what, this is something I haven't considered before, but now I'm interested in supporting. And so this allows you to track the progress as you have meetings with different folks. And so you see now it's likely that you're going to get a school board vote. you have a 65% chance and somewhat likely that you're going to get a school board vote. And so you can basically see how you can track by percentages. So this is one way you can do it. If you really need to be detailed in tracking your school board members, you can go to each of their tabs, enter their information in, and you want to enter their names in up here in that cell A1, and then you can return to the dashboard, clicking that link. The other thing, another way you could use it is just if you don't need to actually track each of the school board members and all of their information, you could always just track it right here and use the drop down. And so you could say, oh, it's very likely, and this is somewhat likely. Actually, we'll just go all the way down. This is neutral, this is somewhat unlikely, and Goku just doesn't like us. But let's say Goku has a change of heart and he becomes neutral and this becomes somewhat likely. Then you can see once again that, and basically this just allows you to play with the votes another way. But if you enter information here on this dashboard, I have to warn you that now the formulas will no longer pull over from here. So for example, when I enter information over here, you see that it populates automatically here in number 6, but it won't do that if I enter that information here. So that's just one caution. You can use it either way, it's just however you prefer, but I would suggest using it from the dashboard and entering in the name of whatever school board member you have. So that is how you use the school board tracker. It should be able to help you determine who to spend time with and where to dedicate your time and what influences those people and what meetings you've had with them to influence them, and ultimately help you to be able to work very intentionally to gaining a favorable school board vote. Thank you for taking the time to watch it. If you ever have questions on how to use the school board tracker, you can always click the link here and you can pull up this video. Thank you, and I hope you find it useful.